Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am so excited about this live today. I'm going to teach very simply how ambitious women betray themselves, how ambitious women settle. And it is not what you think. It's not what you think because a lot of times when you are already smart and sharp and incredible, you've achieved all kinds of, incredible accomplishments in your career, in your life, your education, it doesn't appear that you are settling, but you know in the recesses of your heart and in your life that you are. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant, and I started my company over 20 years ago. And I simply made a decision to show up like a giant for myself. I wanted to leverage my own skills and talents. And I had a belief that I could take all of my background as a corporate trainer and my systems as a mom and combine those and launch a business. I didn't have evidence that any of this was going to work. But you know how you have that knowing? If you've had that knowing, I want you to write that's me, okay? Even if you're watching the replay. I had this knowing that I was just meant to create impact with women. And if you have had that same nudge or knowing with your skills and your talents, this is absolutely going to be the live for you. The live today, for those of you who are just joining me, is how ambitious women betray themselves. And it's true. And I'm going to break it down. I've got 6 simple points. I'm going to refer to an email that I wrote today because I thought it was so powerful what I shared. And it was just from my heart of having coached thousands of women over the years. And I primarily coach women who are exceptionally smart and talented and very educated and who have an ability to create massive results for others. And I see often for many of them when they come to me, some who say no, some who say yes and change the trajectory of their lives, that they deal with these issues. All right. And let's just partner right here. You're going to need to get a piece of paper out and you're going to want to take notes, get your pen out and do that now. Because what I'm going to share with you is going to shake your shoulders a little bit, but my only goal is to absolutely support you. So I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant for those of you who are just joining me. And I started my company over 20 years ago. And today I am going to break this down to support women in no longer settling. So let's just jump right in. All right. If you're ready, I'm ready. And if you're ready, even if you're watching the replay, I want you to write, I'm ready. You do have to be ready for a powerful message. And this is a powerful message. All right. So the reason I wanted to do this live is because I work with giants. And so over the years I've worked with so many incredible minds, women who have the confidence and the ability and to create tremendous impact in the world with their gifts. And they all embody a couple of basic characteristics. One, self-trust. That many of these women are women who, over the course of their career, have learned to trust themselves at a very high level. They also are really great at sharpening their saw. So, meaning they've always been investors in themselves and education and experiences. And as a result of that, they perform at a higher level than most because of their level of investment, right? Their life is evidence of the results that they can create. And it's flat true. And when they walk into any space or any building, and I know this is you, that somehow that they have a commanding way about them and it's magnetic and people understand what their skills and what their talents are and they find themselves easily and effortlessly doing and using the skills and leveraging their skills, to serve whatever environments they're a part of, whether it's their work environment or something they volunteered for or some board that maybe they're a part of, whether it's paid or not, or, a business that they've launched. But I also have seen ambitious women betray themselves. And I wanted to break down what that looks like because it's so easy when you are, checking all the boxes, right? And you look good and you smell good, right? But I always say it broke at a different level, meaning one of the levels of betrayal is not having the time, freedom that you would desire. So, meaning life looks good, life is great. But when you really think about it, you've got the trappings of success, you're doing what you love to do, But one of the ways we betray ourselves is knowing that we need more time. We need more time to have lifestyle. We need more time to enjoy our lives. We need more time to just feel our lives. And when I will tell you, like it's a very interesting thing. I know so many women who are high achievers who work, 60, 70 hours a week, every single week. And everything fits in around work. And maybe this is you, but it is a betrayal not to be able to get off of that hamster wheel. It is a betrayal to yourself to not be able to give yourself the time freedom that you need in order for you to live your best life. And I think so many of us, we live for that vacation or those 2 weeks or whatever it is. And you know what? The money is always in the model. You can always take and take your skills and your talents and leverage them in completely different ways and go to work for yourself and build a business that will allow you to be free. And I say this because I work about 31 hours a month servicing my clients. And I work from the comfort of my home. And one of the things that I wanted to do was renegotiate the way that I worked and earned. And it's not for everyone. But if you're that person that says, you know what, I'm a high paid service professional and I trade time for dollars and I want to learn a new way to do the work that I'm doing, I am talking to you. Okay. One of the ways that we betray ourselves is not having time freedom, being committed to models where we're trading time for dollars, being committed to models that allow us to sell the most important variable that we have in our life, and that's time. Time is the only thing you cannot get back. You cannot recreate a moment that just happened. It's gone forever. So it's very important that what we do in our lives is not just about the work that we do, but it's or the impact that we create, but also that we are leveraging our time so we can experience our life. And I see so many sharp, smart, ambitious women who never really get to enjoy their lives, and I'm telling you the truth. The second thing is becoming comfortable with the status quo. And this is going to sound a little controversial, right? Because when you are very successful and when you are exceptionally smart, the truth of the matter is you've probably outperformed most of the people in your world, right? But the thing is, sometimes we become comfortable with the status quo. We become comfortable with the routine, whatever it is, like, the hour and a half commute each way, the 9 to 7 or whatever, working every single day and committing in that way, that we never ever really take the time to think about what the next level of living can look like for us. We stop dreaming around what quality of life could look like for us. And if this is you, I'm talking directly to you. I'll tell you that I remember sitting in traffic, every day, in particular, when I would be on my way back home, and there was so much traffic, and I was thinking, there has got to be another way for me. I mean, I have got to find another way for me to spend my time. I wanted to spend time with my husband, and I didn't want to be in the car for 2 hours a day, which is, it was 10 hours just one way, going one way, and 10 hours in the morning going the other way, 20 hours a week. And maybe you've asked yourself that way. Sometimes we become comfortable with the status quo because of the gifts that come along with the salary or the life that we have or the things that we're already committed to. And we ask ourselves, how can I change what I'm doing right now when it's paying the bills, right? When it's paying tuition, when it's doing all of those things, but there is more for you. And sometimes we forget about the big dreams that we've had. We put them on the shelf so that we can accommodate the simple pleasures. And I hope that if that's you, that I'm talking directly to you. I want to make sure that I cover everything from my note today. When we are comfortable, I wrote, we are always reaching for, and I said, that next bag of chips, right? We are skipping the gym. We're making those small choices. When we're comfortable, we play small. We don't make the most powerful choices. And often when we're ambitious professionals, it's because we say, my life doesn't have bandwidth for me to do this. And so we become comfortable with the status quo. Is this you? And if this is you and it's something that you've been looking to change, right? I'm looking to change this, right? I'm looking just, and you can say it to yourself, or you could write it here. I'm looking to change that. So the two things I've covered so far is we're talking today about how ambitious women betray themselves. And the first thing that I've covered is the fact that we don't consider time freedom as a value. And because of it, we don't get to live our lives to the fullest. We don't get to enjoy our lives in the same way. We don't get to be fully expressed and do the things that we love to do. Hobbies to me are really important to have. And it's not enough for me to talk about a hobby that I have that I never ever get to, I never get to do anything with it. I'm a gardener. I love to garden. This time of year makes me happy. Being able to spend time in my garden is it's a higher level of expression for me. My question is, what is it that you love to do, and how frequently do you get to do it? And is your life accommodating you being your highest and tallest self? Number two, becoming comfortable with the status quo, the car, the job, the salary, all of the things that create the stability often keep us from dreaming. And I'm not saying this to say, hey, like, let's discount what you're doing, because what you're doing is great, but you could create some tremendous options for yourself on the side that will give you some other room, some more room. I'll give an example. I worked with a therapist last year who I supported her in just changing her practice. She had, a lot of clients that she was talking to one-on-one. And I think it was like 52 clients a week she had booked in that she would talk to each and every week. And I showed her instead how to move to a consulting model. She had some other opportunities, and she was able to replace her salary. Now she only has 10 or 11 clients that she actually offers the one-on-one therapy to. I'm not saying that that's going to be a model for you, but it might be. What if you could have half the client base and the same level of income, but more freedom to do what you want? Is that something you desire? All right. And if so, you can always DM me. I'm happy to schedule a strategy session with you to show you what the opportunities look like. Number three, the third thing that happens to ambitious women is that they forget to have an appetite for the uncomfortable. So let me break this down. So we're talking about comfort, right? Just a minute ago. And now I'm talking about the uncomfortable. The truth of the matter is, if your life does not have some level of something that's uncomfortable, then you're not growing. And I see this a lot with incredible women. What do I mean? They may want to write a book, but there's no deadline to write it, right? Like, so they want to write a book and the book's not written for 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is, right? Or several months, or whatever it looks like. They want to start or launch a coaching practice. They never do. Okay. They have some clients, but they're working with these people for free because they don't have to do this for income, because they already have income. You hear me on this, okay? So they're not willing to do the uncomfortable, launch their consulting business, build out their own proprietary process so that they can launch and support others. And if this is you, it is one of the things that has been getting in the way of what your next level looks like. Every single person I know that has stepped into that next level has always had to meet discomfort on the other side. It's true, okay? Because that's where the growth is. And I'm going to refer to my email. Like, if you want to change your life, I believe that you have to create an appetite for the uncomfortable. And what I mean by that, it's likely that you're going to have to make time for something that isn't convenient, because you want to live at your highest frequency. And a lot of us, we want to live at our next level, or we talk about it, but we're not willing to be uncomfortable. This weekend's not good. Tonight I just can't do it. I would write a chapter, but maybe next week, right? But there has to be that level of something that's uncomfortable that you're pushing through, because that's what allows you to achieve your results. And I wrote here, said, think about a woman that you admire. Think about right now, I want you to get a picture in your mind of a woman whose life you admire. And, I want you to really think about, why do you admire this woman? Do you admire her because I wrote here, do you admire her because of her accomplishments? And if so, I want you to think just right now, think about, what accomplishments has she done? Like, did she win some awards? Is it her level in the company? Is it the level of education that she's acquired? What is it? Is it that you admire her confidence? Right. So sometimes we admire women because we love that confidence. We're like, man, I love the way she shows up, right? Powerfully. Sure. Maybe that's why you admire her. Do you admire her because of her commitment to herself? Because her commitment means she's a finisher for herself. And I want you to think about this. These are really powerful, deep conversations, but I want you to think about it. And you know what? I always say, like, when we stop ourselves from doing the uncomfortable, what we're doing is it's like taking poison that prevents us from seeing what we're fully capable of. And I think that not stepping into a zone of discomfort, that's exactly what happens. You never get to know who you really are, what you're fully capable of. And it is the reason why ambitious women don't get to show up 100% for themselves. And I hope that this is supporting you. And if you're getting value and you're watching the replay, I don't know what platform you're on, I want you to write, like, I'm getting value. I'm getting this. Really, really important. I wrote a newsletter about it today, and I was like, I just want to come on, and I know this message isn't going to be for everyone, but it's going to be for that woman that's like, that's me. You know what? I am living a life smaller than I could be. And because I am comfortable, and I have settled as it relates to my dream. Okay. Number 4. Okay. Um, they the fourth reason that ambitious women don't achieve the results that they desire is that they ask the wrong questions, right? They ask the wrong questions. And to me, it's really important to be honest with yourself, be transparent with yourself about yourself. And look at your life and ask yourself, this time last year, what were your goals? What were your dreams? Did you accomplish them? All right. And if you didn't, then say to yourself, why didn't I? Did you have the accountability that you need? Did you make the investments that you need? Do you have the network and the community of the people that you desire, your own ambition level and above? There are many of us who have great friendships and great friends, but sometimes people just aren't ambitious and they don't think outside of the box like you do. And you have to make sure you have that community for yourself, your own ambition level and above. I know that you hear me, right? I wrote here, it means that you're willing to be fully transparent and honest with yourself about what anchors are existing that are holding you back. Because sometimes we create these anchors, right? And those anchors become a system in our lives. And the reason that we don't get to realize what we want isn't because it's not possible. It has nothing to do with skill or talent. It's like we create these anchors. And I'll give you a couple examples. One of the biggest anchors that I hear from women who are looking, let's say, to invest in coaching, they may say, I want to work with you, Mia, but I need to talk to my husband. That's an anchor. What do I mean? I've been married for 27 years, and I can't imagine that my personal growth is linked to whether or not my husband says, yes, I can invest in myself. All right, hear me on this. I know. Listen, okay. And a lot of times when we don't want to show up for ourselves, we use others as an excuse not to show up. It's an anchor. And, another way that we have anchors in our life, sometimes we are surrounded with people who have low level ambition. And what that means is that you get to be at the top of the food chain when you're hanging out with your girls, right? You get to be at the top of the food chain. So you're not challenged, not growing because you're not in a like-minded community that's pulling for you in the same kind of way. And so your capacity isn't as great as it could be because you're not even in community hanging with folks that are calling you out to be the giant that you are. And sometimes we do that, and it's an anchor for us. It keeps us in the same place. It allows us to feel super safe, right? But inside of you, you wake up every morning with the same dream, so you know that there is more for you. Is this making sense? And if this is making sense, I want you to write, this is making sense. All right. And I want you to think about it, right? Because my only goal is to help you to create that shift. And then I think I'm on number 5, right? Number 5 is not stepping into fear. So I don't know women that achieve the really big things, huge things that aren't brave for themselves. And in fact, I wrote about women in fear. Let me see where it is. Because I was like, man, every woman that I know that's ever hear this. I said, we all are afraid. And some women, the brave ones, they move scared. And that really is the difference, right? They say yes and then they figure it out. And a lot of times, one of the biggest ways that we betray ourselves as ambitious women is that we don't move afraid. There's this big dream. I always wanted to have my own television show, right? You might have said something like that. Or I always wanted to write my book. I always wanted to be on, do a TED talk. I always wanted to be on these big old stages. I always wanted to have my own consulting firm. I always want, think about how you would finish that. And yet the thought of it frightens you. And I'll tell you why it frightens you, specifically if you are a ambitious woman, is because you already have a record of success. You already have a reputation. And sometimes when you think about launching something new, the fear is, what if it doesn't work? Like, how is that going to impact how people perceive me and my brand? And I don't know if this is you, but if it is you, I'd love to have the opportunity to speak with you via a strategy session so that we can support you with a strategy so you could show up like the giant that you are in your life, in your world. All right. And another way that ambitious women betray themselves is at our level of investment. And I know whenever I talk about investment, people think like, I'm going to sell you something. No, you're going to sell you something. All right. I'm going to serve you and I'm going to share with you what I know works and what I've done with, thousands of other women over the years to teach them to have the courage to stand in their value and to own their gifts. And I will tell you that you have to make an investment at a level that you can't walk away from. And that is so key. So many of us, we make an investment in things that if you do it or you don't do it, doesn't matter because it's such a low level investment that it doesn't matter. For me, I mentioned this before, it was Taebo videos. I bought the whole set. I would just sit on my couch and watch Billy Blanks do Taebo, right? And it was a low investment. It didn't matter if I did it or not. I wasn't fully committed. There's something about making an investment in yourself, a significant one, that makes you move differently. And if you have not been accountable to your dream, if you have not been getting it done, then maybe you need to up your level of investment. Think about it. All right. Really, really important. And it's one of the ways that ambitious women betray themselves. They already have had a track record of investing in themselves. Most have gone to, lots of schools or certifications and done all kinds of things. So you have a history of that. That's how you're wired. And then out here in this world are all of these shiny objects and all of these promises of being able to help you realize and become your best self. You make an investment in yourself in something that was never created to create a result for you. There's no proof or evidence of it. And if that is the case, stop it, because you create your greatest results when you invest in things that are designed for your success. All right. And it's the reason why I share all of the proof that we have with you on my pages, because I want you to see what's real, right? I mean, if someone has the ability to create results, they should have lots of proof, and I think that if you have 5 testimonials and you've been in business 20 years, why would that be? If you've been in business for 20 years, you probably have hundreds of testimonials. And that to me represents a trend. All right. Now, I can't make a promise that every single person I'm going to work with is going to create the exact results like the majority of my clients, because I don't know you and I don't know if you'll do the work. But I can tell you, if you do the work, I haven't had a failure. You've got to be committed to your dream. And that's what I have for you today. So that's what I have. Okay. That's what I want to share with you. If you've been looking for an opportunity to find your people, to show up gigantic for yourself, of course, I want to invite you. Either, you can book a strategy session with me. Go to miaredrick.com. You'll see a link there where you can book a strategy session, or you can sign up for my conference that's coming up in June 2nd through 4th. Called the Giant Experience Master Training. It's incredible. And there I will support you in taking your knowledge and your education, your expertise, and we figure out how you can package it as a premium service or product, and online or offline, even if you're not sure what it is, and how to price it. and how to market it in ways that are simple, and how to sell it in a way that's time rich and systematic, because a lot of women don't know how to sell and be themselves. And if that's something that's of interest to you, I'll post the link here for the Giant Experience Master Training. It's in Baltimore. It is an in-person event. There is not a virtual component to the event. It's a work done with you event where I teach. You have time to implement. You come back, and then you are given feedback. Okay, so make sure you check that out, and then I will pull. Let me pull a link for if you want to book a strategy session with me, or a member of my team, so that we can support you in understanding how can you take and leverage who you are and be gigantic and fabulous going to work as yourself, because there's so many options and you can create a tremendous transition plan for yourself. So and I know that this will absolutely support you. All right, so are there any questions for me? Did you get value, or did you get value? This was a good live tonight, but it was based off of my newsletter that I wrote today. And, not AI, I wrote it. Okay, imagine that. Okay. Not AI, I wrote it. All right, laughing out loud, right? But I wrote it, and it was just from my heart, because I work with such gigantic and amazing women who, thank you, Kimberly, who have created incredible results, and they've just shown up for themselves. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? And what was your biggest aha or takeaway for those of you who are watching? And even if you're watching the replay, just post your comment. What was your aha or your takeaway? You know, we act like time is something that we control, and it isn't. It's not. You have to decide for yourself that you deserve it. I mean, I made a decision 20 years ago, and I think about it like I didn't hem, I didn't haw. I said yes to myself, and then I figured it out. And I always tell my clients this, and I hopefully this helps you. I was an 18-month overnight success. So you know how like today everybody's like, oh, overnight I made $1 million, or overnight whatever it is, right? So that wasn't me. I was an 18-month overnight success. It took me some time to figure out what I need to do. But you know what? Once I did, I never looked back. And the view is exactly the same. And I work today in a way that's unrecognizable for me. Unrecognizable. 31 hours roughly a month from my home or anywhere I choose. And I don't say any of that for any, I'm not saying any of that for any bragging reasons. I just want to see more women on the other side that are capable of choosing that for themselves. And I want to partner with you to show you the strategy around how you can make that happen. But if you're not ordinary, like, and hear me on this, hear my heart on this, right? You've all your life you've been extraordinary. So these ordinary practices, these cookie cutter same approaches are not going to work for you. You need something that's custom for you based on what you bring to the table. And when you have that, you can create amazing results for yourself, and you can move to the front of the line quicker for yourself in your business, right? When you know exactly what to do. And it's one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we create and design a custom strategy for each client. None of my clients do exactly the same thing. None of my clients market exactly the same way. And they are all so different, but they're smart and they're sharp and they're incredible women, and they do the work. And that's why they create the results. So I hope that there's something I said that motivates you to move forward, to take an action. And I also hope that I'll see you in June, in just a couple of weeks, at the Giant Experience Master Training. It's going to be epic. I'm so excited. And when you go to the landing page, you'll get all the details there. I've been talking about it for the last month. And so what I will tell you, though, I hosted this event in 2019. The women that attended that event within 2 weeks closed $250,000, and they went on to close millions of dollars. What I am a magnet for is attracting high achieving women who want to do the work, who support one another, who share. And if you don't have that, you don't have giants like that in your world, then this event is for you. If you don't know what it is that you could do, you're like, man, I know I'm really good, but I don't know what this is. Come on down. We'll figure it out on what it can look like. You'll learn different models that often aren't taught to women and aren't taught to women of color of how you can incorporate leverage in what you do. And you'll understand that you can go to work as yourself, not as a character, not duplicating somebody else, not copying somebody's work. You can go to work as you, bringing all of who you are. And if you're a woman of faith and you want to incorporate her in part of what you do, you can do that too. All right. So this idea of going and being all of yourself is a requirement to be a giant. And I know many of us have been taught something completely different than that. Like, look, no, you can do this, but you can't do that. No, this is acceptable, not that. It doesn't work that way. You can be all of who you are. And many of my clients do exactly that. They have so many unique combinations of who they were, of who they are. And I'll tell you this, that when I started as a mom coach, a mom coach. I didn't start as a business coach. I started as a mom coach and built an incredible brand and business and wrote a bunch of best-selling books and did a number of brand strategic partnerships with, Fortune 100, 500 brands, being myself. And then I shared my business strategies, my branding strategies, how I was able to grow my company and get signed to Emmy nominated and nationally syndicated shows with other women who want to do that. And that's how I became a business coach. I leverage all of who I am. All right. And so everything I teach my clients, I have done. And I'm really proud of it. I can show you, I'm not telling you I've done television and you can't see the segments. It's like, no, like really, you can see them. Okay. And that is a novel concept in this day and time. All right. So I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you as always. I hope that if this really supported you, you'll share it with your friend or two or three, and let's spread the word to help more women really show up gigantic for themselves. I love you. Have an amazing night.